Well, hello, welcome to another episode of Embrace Live. It's good to be with you again. So if you've never kind of seen one of these episodes before, we do this every Wednesday, most of the time, every Wednesday. We do have a break every now and again at 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock. So if you are, run into time, you're kind of viewing tonight, watch this. We will be finished by 9 o'clock. So you can watch I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here and all the important stuff. So just let me introduce myself. My name's Dave Dixon. I'm a member of and help on the leadership team at Embrace Church in Darlington. And so Embrace Live came about obviously from lockdown and our experiences there of kind of having to move church online. And, we wanted to continue our online presence alongside the physical meetings that we have on a Sunday morning. And so if you want to find out more about Embrace Church, then, obviously just check out the Facebook page, which you can obviously go to on here. And lots of you have found that already. You might have had the link shared with you. Or you can jump across onto our website and find out lots of information about us on there as well. Okay. And so actually, what's great about this is how it's evolved into, Embrace Live, which is about meeting people around the region, the Northeast and beyond, really. And I'm really excited because actually this last week I've been literally spamming everybody I know, far and wide, just to encourage them to come on and be a guest of Embrace Live 1 week. And I'm so excited that we've got so many people, great people, lined up who are so varied in their backgrounds and where, not just geographically where they're at, but actually the ministries and the things that they're doing for God, in lots of different ways and their experiences. So what came out from the recent kind of surveys and requests for feedback came through was we love people's stories. We love finding out about people, how they came to that point in their lives to follow Jesus, to commit themselves, to become a Christian, to become, born again, as it says in the Bible, and to devote their lives fully to following Jesus. And all of that means, what that means for the plans and purposes that our God has for each and every single one of us. And, it's great that we can ask people their stories. But it's also great that these people often that we've got lined up are involved in living it out. Not just talking the talk, they are walking the walk. And our guest tonight is Gina from the Worship Centre. I tell you what, let's just go across to Gina, just so we can put her on screen and say a nice hello. Gina, how are you? Are you okay?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks, yes.
Okay. You said before we came on, you're a little bit nervous. How are you feeling now?
I'm quite peaceful actually now, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, excited.
So what we want people from everybody, thanks Gina, is lots of love for Gina, all right? Because she said to me before, and she's never done anything like this before, which is great. And I'm so thankful that she's willing to give up some time tonight and step up and do this. So please, 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 let's have your comments tonight. Let's have your comments, your questions for Gina. Don't make them too difficult, okay? Because we want to, we don't want to make Gina feel uncomfortable. We want to come on again and hear, in the future how amazing the Worship Centre is and all of the amazing things that they're doing and have got planned and so on. So please, let's post some comments just to show the love and for Gina. And like I said, we're going to hear from her tonight, and particularly about her story and involvement with the Worship Centre in Lingdale. All right. So we are, doing these each week. So it's great if you could help us out. Just a little request. Please share this stream with your friends and family. Well, actually, I'm not even bothered if it's friends or family. Just anybody you know online, whoever they may be. I'm not fussed, to be honest. I'm not fussy. Just because we want to spread the word. And even though this is Embrace Live, what I love about this, like we said, is sharing the stories and experiences and meeting people from, I was going to say other churches, but I often make the point, there's only one church, and that's God's church. That is God's church. And we're all living that out in different flavours and maybe in different locations. So that's what's great about this, is that we kind of broaden the net and we're kind of, spreading out to meet other people from all around the region who are doing amazing things for God. And again, we're going to hear Gina and the amazing things that she's doing in her story, and we're really, thankful and looking forward to that. So let me play the kind of intro video for the Leaders series that we're doing. This is part of it. We've been doing this for a while. Of course, if you haven't caught any of the other episodes, then please, you can always access them on Facebook, our Facebook page, Embrace Church Darlington Facebook page, and our YouTube channel as well. So, you can just dip in. I'm really pleased. We've seemed to have quite a few people on live tonight, so I'm hoping we can make this as interactive as possible, as always. So let me hit this Leaders intro, and then we'll get to the most important point, which is talking with Gina tonight and hearing from her tonight. Here we go. And here we are. Gina, you're on screen. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Dave. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're feeling a bit more peaceful about it and so on. And, it's...
Yeah.
But you were saying you were excited before we came on air. You were saying it was an excitement sort of thing. So that's a good thing. Is that a good thing?
Yeah. Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm excited.
Good stuff. So, like I say, people that obviously I'm looking over at my secondary monitor over here, and I can see we've got a number of people online, which is great live. Let's post some comments, obviously, and questions as we go through. It'll be great if you can start off by just kind of showing a bit of love for Gina, just to welcome her as part of the as part of the show as our guest tonight. We do have some regular people joining in, which is great. I can see, I'm just looking over here, we've got, let me just add a few to the broadcast. Here we go. We've got Tony joining in, so Tony, and we've even got Alan as well, so that's even better. So that wonderful couple, that Tony and Alan, who lead Embrace Church in Darlington. We've got other people coming in. Hello, Anthony, as well. Let me just pop that on there. Brilliant. And wonderful people like Sue and Bill as well. Oh, I'm just like, I don't know if you can hear that noise. I think we've got a jet flying over the top of my house, really, so... Either that, or I should be a bit worried that house is going to collapse at any point. Hopefully not. We'll see what happens. All right, okay. So, wow, that's getting louder. It's almost like it feels as if the jet's going to land on my house. That's a bit worrying. There we go. I'm a little bit distracted by that. Sorry about that.
I can hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I have got a really good microphone here, so it does pick up a lot. So my family that are in my other room, just to my right here, are always warned about how much noise that they make. They have to almost sit in silence. So, but there we go. Maybe I should get a studio. I can't afford one of them. There we go. So, Gina, why? Okay, let's just jump in here. Let's just obviously Tony. I said let's show the love. So obviously Tony's just saying hi, Gina. Good to see you. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that comment? Okay, there.
I can. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks. Yes.
So that's where they're going to appear. Thanks, Tony, for showing a bit of love there. That's great. So, Gina, obviously, thank you for coming on tonight, and thank you for giving up, your time, and I'm really excited about, hearing from your story, because in that leaders video, obviously the intro bit, they said a number of kind of keywords. A leader. You are a leader. A visionary. You are a visionary, and I've met you a number of times over the years. And had the privilege of coming across to the worship centre a few times now to kind of lead worship, and I was there not too long ago at the amazing official opening celebration, which was just a great time together. I know Mike and Liz Conley joined us as well, and there was other people there that I knew, and some I didn't, but it was a great time to kind of officially launch the kind of opening of the centre in terms of the larger room. I don't want to steal too much of your thunder, because I want you to come through and talk about that.
Okay.
But why don't you tell us a little bit of like who you are? Obviously you're a bit of background and maybe how your story, how you came to kind of know Jesus yourself, really, and what's that meant to you, and what does it mean to you going forward and stuff?
Right. Well, I became a Christian in Darlington, actually,
Oh, did you?
Assembly of God Church in Darlington, Corporation Road,
Yeah.
in 1982.
Right.
February, I think it was the 21st at about 8:30 one night.
Nice and
Uh,
specific. Thank you.
yeah, I was living with my uncle Brian, my auntie Chris at the time. I was at college in Darlington, so I used to have Monday to Friday with Uncle Brian and go home for the weekend.
Yeah.
And one weekend there was a train strike on, and I couldn't go home. And they asked me if I wanted to go to church,
Right.
and I knew the church was really lively, lots of tambourines and singing and clapping.
Yeah.
So I went along, and I don't really remember anything of the sermon whatsoever. But on the evening, I was sat there and there was an altar call. He said, "Does anybody want to give their life to Jesus?" And I remember hearing this voice in my head that told me to stand up. And there was a second voice in my head that told me not to stand up at all. And I was there in the middle going, "There's no way I'm standing up."
Yeah.
And anyway, the next minute I found myself on my feet. And this voice in my head said, "Oh, you've done it now. You've got to go to church twice on a Sunday." And that was the first thing. And so it was a really road to Damascus experience for me.
Yeah.
Mum went to church, Church of England. Um, I was so changed that the college lecturers rung up my mum to ask them what was the matter with me, because
Wow.
I had changed so dramatically.
Yeah.
And I was a nuisance, I really was. I couldn't understand why anybody couldn't see Jesus, because he was so plain and obvious.
Mm.
And that's how I actually became a Christian. Went to Manchester College, and stayed on at Manchester in a good church
Yeah.
before I came home. And yeah, got married, started my own business with my husband. So retired from it last year after 30 years in
Right.
business.
What was the
And
business? What was the business?
we had a garage and we recovered vehicles.
Right.
And yeah, I used to do all the paperwork and the wages and the VAT, and
Right.
occasionally I would drive a truck as well.
Would you?
And yeah, I didn't like to load cars. I was always worried they'd fall off. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
that's a bit of a hidden side that I have that I used to have my high ab license, and I
Yeah.
used to do 44 in and things. So
Wow.
yeah, people really don't know that. But yes, I was more in the office. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Wowzers. I didn't know that at all. I mean, like I said, I've met you
No,
a few
no.
times and it's lovely, obviously we can catch up, but, I'm going to learn a lot tonight. So I didn't know that, at all,
Yeah. So
without jumping to any conclusions, you don't kind of you look like the person who's kind of into trucks and recovery and 4x4s kind of thing. But, maybe that's just me being judgmental. Sorry.
well, when needs must, you just jump in a truck and you drive. So
Yeah.
that's what I used to do if I had to. So a
That sounds like
family
you make a
business
great
was soon.
T-shirt that you could wear as well. When needs must, you just jump in the truck. That kind of maybe that would be good, wouldn't it? Okay,
Yeah.
so you've retired
Um,
from that business then, obviously,
I
and
have.
so what's keeping you busy now then? Because obviously you mentioned it a few times, but
Yep. I retired last October, end of October, 31st of October. Went into lockdown the 2nd of November, if I remember rightly.
right,
And it was a really big decision, but it was time to leave the business and to start and work full time within the worship centre,
right,
which I'd had for 6 years now. So
right,
I was 5 years into it, and it had got to the point where I needed to commit myself to it
yeah,
and do that as at full time, because yeah, that's where it was up to really.
okay. Well,
And
let's obviously you mentioned that at that point you had the worship centre 5 or 6 years. Can we
yeah,
go back in a bit of history? Just obviously
yeah,
how the worship centre kind of came
and
about and that, because I'm really fascinated,
right,
and I'm sure people and again we want to encourage this as we go along, that people
right,
would kind
right,
of maybe ask the questions
yeah,
and pose that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
obviously you've been a Christian for some time, and
Mhm.
I like Assemblies of God. I was Assemblies of God person for a while, and in that church, I do like a nice charismatic. Are you a bit of a whiz with the old tambourine? Then did do you like a bit of tambourine and
Well, I do play the guitar a bit,
yeah?
but I'm not as good as you, Dave.
No, no, no,
I
no, no, no.
just
Don't
play
say
it
that.
because I have to,
Yeah,
and I do lead. Maybe I'm putting myself down. I do lead worship a
good
bit,
on you.
but I
Fantastic.
definitely have to have music in front of me.
Yeah.
But I think the journey from the worship centre started about 10 or 12 year ago.
Mm.
I was living in Saltburn. We were going to the Saltburn Church of England church, and we were in interregnum, and I didn't know what that was, but that means without a vicar.
All
And
right. I
I
didn't know that
was
either.
no, I was feeling a bit kind of dry and thirsty and hungry for more.
Yeah.
And one morning I was reminiscing about a coffee club that we used to have in Redcar, a ladies' coffee club. We used to go have coffee, have a testimony, have some worship.
Yeah.
There used to be a bookstall, and I was talking to God about it as you do. We could do this and we could do that, and I could play the guitar, and we could, and at the end of the day, I realized that actually it was me that was going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I started a ladies' Bible study group up because I needed more. And I've always been a lover of the scriptures. I love reading the Word of God.
Yeah.
So I started a ladies' Bible study group up, and I called it This Morning. And that soon grew once a month to a praise and worship evening once a month called This Evening. And we used to meet in the Caxton Hotel in Redcar because that's
Right.
where the coffee club was.
Yeah.
That's where I thought we'll go back to where it started, and that's where I went to. And I did that for a couple of years. I don't know, maybe, yeah, it's hard to remember now, isn't it?
Yeah.
A couple of years maybe. And then one year I went to Grapevine, which is like spring harvest or new wine, and
Okay.
it's in like tents, the type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go to the seminars on the morning and the meetings and the big top on the night.
Mm.
And I went there to the big top one night, and the worship leader stood up at the front and he said, "Oh, isn't it great to worship in thousands when you only worship in hundreds in your own church?" And it was like a red rag to the bull. It was like I just stormed out, and I stormed back to my caravan, who I was sharing with a friend at the time.
Yeah.
And I ranted for about 2 hours. She said I just wanted to worship in double figures
Yeah.
in my home church.
Yeah.
Then that's all I wanted. I wanted to have what people were telling me that I could have in my home village and in my home church,
Yeah.
because I was running around the country looking to get filled up. One night it was Ladies Aglow, and the next night it was Hollybush, and I was going from meeting to meeting every month because I was so hungry, I was
Yeah.
so thirsty, I so wanted more. And I think that's been one of my big things in life, is that I read about it in the Bible, and that's what I want. I want
Mm.
to see the miracles. I want
Mm.
to see people healed and raised from the dead. I,
Amen.
I
Yeah.
want to see what, if God says he can still do it, that's what I want. So this experience was that came down to know as my cage rattling experience. And about a month later, oh yeah, one of my friends had suggested that I should have a conference, and I kind of laughed at them and thought, me.
Mm.
Anyway. And about a month later, I finally made that decision to have my own conference and my own workshops, because I really wanted people to know God more.
Yeah.
I wanted them to grow into them, for what God had in their lives. I wanted them to grow up and grow into that destiny,
Mm.
because I knew there was more. And if there was more for me, there was more for them. So um, I started hosting ladies' conferences. Um, That was about 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And I started, organising conferences. And I really learnt the hard way.
Yeah.
I mean, I should write a book because I learnt the hard way. We wanted people to come who couldn't afford to come to conferences, because a lot of them, they ask 10, £20,
Mm.
upwards, and not everybody can afford that. So we decided to give a lot of free tickets out. Unfortunately, we give more free tickets out than actually we
Yeah.
we sold tickets. But God's always good, and He
Yeah.
always provides, and He always pays for it.
Mm.
And that's how I started.
Well, let
That's
me.
how.
So, I mean, clearly, you can see it's quite your passion for it is coming across, quite,
You're right.
as I would expect, and it's great. I love that. I should have kept a tally really, and how many times you said I wanted more. And
Right.
like you say, you saw it you can see it in the Bible, you read it in the Bible, and you think, well, God's promised us that we will do even more. So, through His strength and His power, and so you're a go-getter clearly from what you're describing. It's like,
Yeah.
well, let's do it then. Let's go and do it. And that's the thing, isn't it? We can look around and kind of go, oh, it'd be great if this happened, or if this was happening, if this was happening, or if this was happening. I've got this great idea, and it'd be lovely if somebody did that. But then God can say, well, go on then.
Yeah.
Through the Holy Spirit, I'm going to equip you and going to empower you to do that. And
Yeah.
which is great. So, when I'm just interested. So, you obviously your women's group that you started, and that was then quickly that was this morning,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And then this evening came about the worship night.
Yeah.
So, did you encounter other people who had the same kind of almost desperation of, I want more of God, and then did that kind
I
of
think
resonate with
so.
people?
I think some of the ladies, wanted more, and talking to them in years down the line, they've
Yeah.
said, if it hadn't have been for you, I don't know what I would have done,
Right.
because there was a hunger for it.
Yeah.
People did want more, and I've seen a lot of people grow, and change, and that's really good. That's really fruitful to me.
Yeah.
Numbers, we've always been small in numbers. I won't lie to you,
Mm.
that, if we get a dozen, that's a good day. We get conferences. If we get into the 30s, we're doing really well.
Yeah.
But numbers don't seem to matter. But when I look back, I see people change, and see people how they've grown, and their
Amazing.
lives have changed,
Yeah.
and that's great,
Yeah.
and and I'm ordinary. I think this is the hardest thing for me to understand, is that I'm ordinary. I'm just everyday, middle of the road. I'm nothing really special, and that people say that I am, but
Yeah.
really I wasn't anything ordinary. I just did what God told me to do,
Yeah.
and that's what He told me to do, and I was. And and I look around. I used to look around at people and think, I'm not gifted. I'm not talented in many ways. I've already mentioned I play the guitar, but I'm not super talented in it. I teach or I preach, but I'm not super talented in it. But what I've learned is that he called me a tractor once, God, and He described me as a tractor, like
Really?
slow and annoying when you get behind them as well. But that I was multi-purpose, and that was the way He made me, because I needed to fit in
Yeah.
to the jobs that He had for me. If nobody played the guitar, then I had to fit in,
Yeah.
and that's how I am. So yeah, so that's me, just an ordinary person, really.
Well, let me say what a tractor that you are. I mean, you're amazing. And I think you might not feel, so special, and so you might feel ordinary, but clearly you're not. And through God using you for people to be influenced and to be impacted by you in their lives and come and tell you that, and you can see the fruit of that.
Yeah,
That's not ordinary. That is really
no,
special. And
I would never have called myself a pioneer,
yeah,
which is what I have. And on your like leadership thing that you had, you
yeah,
you had pace setter down,
yeah,
and that was one of the things that somebody had called me. That they said that I was a pace setter.
Yeah.
And I would never have called myself a pace setter or a pioneer.
Yeah.
But that's what I've discovered on this journey, is
Yeah.
that that's what I am. I am a pioneer,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
it's hard work.
oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can I can certainly relate to that, and absolutely, and the work that you're doing is amazing. I just want to post that. You can see that Tony's made that comment. Love your humility and all of
no,
that, and and you can see that, and you are a special person, and you are
thank
leading a
you.
special group of people in a special place, the worship centre. And so, pace setter, I think, is a really good, kind of description, like you say, a pioneer. You say, because you were desperate for more.
Hmm.
People, you were picking up that others were desperate for more. Maybe some needs in the area that weren't being met. For I'm trying to, by
Yeah,
without sounding critical, the local church,
yeah,
and those
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
opportunities, and you know, and so like you say, visiting different places. You mentioned lots of different places. Hollybush is an amazing
mm,
place,
yeah,
continues to be, and so actually, let's do something about this. Let's do this conference and
yeah,
things like this,
yeah,
and like you say, just let's make it happen. And I
yeah,
love a pace setter. I love a pioneer. I love people like that. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna do something about this. I feel like
yeah,
nobody's doing it. I'm gonna grab it and we'll just give it a go. And like you say,
yeah, yeah.
learning some tough lessons and things like that.
I
From a
did.
practical point of view, I think you should write that book. I think it'll be very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you kind of you had this morning, you had this
This
evening,
evening, yeah, yeah.
that kind of led itself, and I think it was. I agree with it. Quite insensitive of the worship leader at where were you again? The big conference to say,
Grapevine, yeah,
yeah, to say
yeah,
a comment like that is it's not the most sensitive, and I understand your cage rattling experience because of that. Yeah, absolutely, and
yeah.
so. Okay, then from then, how did it lead to the kind of the
Right,
worship centre then?
right. Um, yeah, in 2015 it was. I went to, I had a caravan in Scarborough, and I went to the Methodist conference in Scarborough, ECG. And I already knew that God had set aside a building for me, and it told me it was going to be called the Worship Centre. And I knew this building was going to be larger than what I wanted, because I'd had dreams and visions of it. And I was told that I'd when I dream, it was big, but when I wake up, I'd cut the sides off and I'd cut it down to my little size.
Right.
And that's that. So I knew that this was a building. So in April 2015, I went to this conference, and every day I sat there and thought, this worship centre, this is a church. I'm sure it's a church. I'm sure it's a church. And I didn't have the building at this point. And I kept bringing my friends saying, it's a church, it's a
Mm.
church. I'm sure he's telling me to plant a church. And at the end of this week, I just knew that God was telling me to plant this church. And I was absolutely in shock, really, at this, because it was just, he was asking me to do it. And I
Yeah.
was nothing. I was, I was nobody, but there was a lack in this area, in this rural northeast here,
Mm.
this east of Cleveland. There's a real lack of spirit-filled churches. There's nothing around. Well,
Right.
there is a few, but there's nothing around. And I really wanted, as I say, to be in a village, in my home, where I could worship God. So I kept it quiet for a number of months. I think it was 6 months. And in September, I had a conference, a ladies' conference. And you'll know what it's like, Dave. You fill the car up, don't you? You've got your projector, your screen, your
Yeah.
guitar, your mic stand, your books, everything goes in this car. You'll unload it. You try to get set up before everybody turns up at the door. It never works. And then you do the conference, and then you put it all back in the car. And at the end of the day, I said, no, that's it. I'm done. I am not doing this again. It's time to look for this building.
Right.
And God had told me a couple of things. He'd said, "Don't look for it until you're ready, because I've got it, and you won't see it, and I'll hide it from you." And the other thing was, he said I would inherit my father's land, and my dad was born in Lingdale, actually,
Right.
on the street. They knocked it down to build the worship centre,
Wow.
so that was amazing. So we went up and pushed a few doors open, and my husband at the time, or was he ex-husband at the time? I can't remember now. Well, my business partner
Yeah.
had said, "Go look at this one in Lingdale." So we went, and it felt like God was already there already. And even my husband, who wasn't a Christian, he said there was a real sense of peace in the place,
Great. Yeah.
that, and he recognized something about it. So we put in well, actually, we bought it out of the business at the time, and we bought this big working men's club that had been on the market, I think, 7 years, been to auction, nobody wanted it. And yeah, it's a really big, and Dave's been, it's a really
Yeah.
big working men's club.
Yeah.
It's got a big coffee room at one side, a little lounge in the middle, and a big conference room at the other side. And I would have been happy with that little lounge in the kitchen, just to hold Bible studies in
Yeah.
and prayer meetings. But obviously, that's where I was cutting off the ends
Yeah.
of this big building, and
Yeah.
it is a big building, and that's how I got the worship
Let
center.
me just
Sorry.
pause you there for a moment, because it's great.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I'm loving this. I really am, and thank you. Ooh, I'm just went a bit out of focus there. It's great to hear this. How, again, how passionate you are and how God is using you, even though you kept saying, because you use phrases like "I'm nothing," "I'm no one," "I'm not," kind of, but you are, and God chooses to use people who consider themselves to be nothing and
yeah,
ordinary to do extraordinary things, doesn't he?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm interested in a couple of things, because, well, I'm interested in it all, but there's a couple of things I just want to ask you about. You've mentioned about I knew, so at the end of the conference that you were in, at Scarborough,
yeah,
that
yeah,
I just knew God had speak,
yeah,
and then I knew that this was good. You'd had a
yeah,
word and you'd
yeah,
had a
yeah.
dream, and even though you tried to kind of truncate it a little bit, it's a God-sized dream, and you knew. How did you know? That's
How
because
did I
what
know?
I'm just conscious, Gene, is that some people who are watching this may well have just stumbled across this and don't do the
Right,
church thing at all, and may not
right.
even know Jesus themselves.
Yeah.
So how do you know when? How do you know when God is speaking to you, and how did He confirm these kind of
Right.
things? I know it's a journey. How do you do
Yeah.
that?
Well, in April 2015, at this conference, I took a night off and I sat in my caravan. I was reading a book, and this book was it was the first pages. There was a sentence about this man who was sat on a beach, and the adventure was out in the water, and he was being invited to go out into this water, and I just knew that that was me, that I'd reached my limitation sat on
Mm,
that beach. I couldn't go any further, and it was like God was speaking to me, and I was that person on that beach.
right.
And what he was saying, you need to come out into this water, and you need to start and walk on water, because
Wow.
this is where the adventure is. And at that point I knew that that's what I had to do. I had to leave my comfort zone, because I had gone as far as I could.
Mm,
I did conferences, I did worship night, we did ladies breakfasts, but
yeah.
this building, there was something more for me, and it was this building.
Yeah.
And that's how I know. And I do hear his voice quite clearly sometimes, and I dream quite a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
And I have these dreams that, yeah, that I know that this is God, that I've met God
Yeah.
in these dreams. Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah,
And
and
it's like you said over and when we started talking, it was about I want more, I want more. So it's almost like this. insatiable appetite of desire to know more of God and what He's leading you, because it would
Yeah,
have been,
yeah,
you could have quite easily, because you started
yeah,
these ladies groups this morning, the worship evenings this evening, and you did the conferences, and I can relate totally what you said about packing up your car, and they're a hard work, but again, and I can understand certainly you're getting to the end of the day and going, oh, that's it, kind of
yeah,
stuff. But it was all part of God's plan, clearly, leading you to this point, and obviously you made that big, bold investment in this working men's club.
yeah.
Amazing, and the other thing I was going to ask you is, like, was anybody with you at this point? You talked about obviously husbands, but was anybody
Well,
else kind of grabbing the vision with you? Because this is big, this is bold. This is like, I feel God's
yeah,
calling me, and
yeah,
I know He's doing this because He's confirmed it through reading that book, to step out in the water, to whatever conference and other things like that. I'm sure there was other occasions
yeah,
that you haven't mentioned. Right, I'm going to do this. But that's a
yeah.
big step to take on a building, and be
I
totally
know.
convinced.
I looking back, I think I was very naive. You know, I just I jumped in head first,
Yeah,
really, and I did have a lot of friends around me, a lot of ones that came with me and followed me. But I did have a friend who stood by me quite a lot,
mm,
and then as we started to have meetings in the centre, it gradually became a Sunday evening service. And when it started to be a church, it was just a natural thing that happened.
yeah,
And I think the people have stood by me, and I'm really grateful for that, because without them, I couldn't have done what I've done,
mm,
and we work as a team together and we support each other. And I think that's important, is that we do love each other. And especially through COVID,
yeah,
when we've been on Zoom, we've become a strong, like, dozen people, a strong group,
yeah,
where, that they've been committed to me
mm,
and to the vision that I had. And the vision really wasn't for a community hub. I really wanted to teach and train Christians,
right,
and educate them, because
yeah,
that's really what I felt that I wanted to do. It wasn't to be a community type of hood, or an I'm not evangelist, anyway. That's my worst of my giftings,
right,
but I understand that we are here to bring people to Christ. But I provided the building, and I hope
yeah.
other people would do that bit. um Sorry, I've lost my train of
No, no,
thought.
that's yeah,
um but yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that people have stood by me.
mm,
But
yeah,
I think I'm at that point now where I'm not sure where I'm going to be going from now.
right,
I mean, COVID has been difficult for all churches,
yeah,
hasn't it?
it
And
has,
from September, we had like a set meetings planned, and now we're praying into what actually God wants for next year.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. So,
yeah,
I mean, obviously, you said you had a team of people around you, and
yeah,
stood by
yeah,
you and supported you, and clearly they wouldn't have done that if they didn't feel that vision was
yeah,
from God.
yeah,
God was God given, and
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
sure within all of that, it's been ups and downs and challenges, and it's never easy, certainly. But like you mentioned earlier, I've been to the worship centre, a few times now, and I'm privileged enough to kind of, you invite me to kind of come with a team and lead worship, and it's a brilliant place to go to, because you mentioned that was it your husband when you first visited the place,
yeah,
the actual building, the Working's Men's Club, there was a real peace. Well, totally, I
yeah,
get that,
yeah,
and that you tell, like Hollybush. I think it's a
yeah.
real well. It's a real. It's
It
sort of
is.
filled with the Holy Spirit, and
It
it's a
is. It is.
significant plot. It's a significant
Yes.
place.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yeah.
we've certainly when love the times that we've been across. And when I'm talking, I say we as myself, and
Yeah.
people like Mike and Liz Connolly, and others who are part of the rhythms of grace kind of worship mob, as we call ourselves, friends that, my worship buddies that we get together, and we, can serve local churches and organisations through leading worship. And we're looking forward, if I can give it a bit of a plug, if I'm allowed to on the 4th of
Yeah, yeah,
December.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
you've very kindly invited us to go across. In fact, actually, we were supposed to be there. We had to postpone it because, unfortunately, I got COVID, which was thankfully I'm over now, and thank God for that. And and so but we've postponed it to 4th of December. And so, again, it would be great if people can make it to come and visit and see this amazing centre and all that, obviously you're talking about, and then obviously get to
Yeah,
worship Jesus, which is just amazing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's been hard work. I
yeah,
mean, it's taken me 6 years to actually renovate it. When COVID came, in a way, it was a blessing for us because we got quite a lot of the work done during
right.
lockdown.
Yeah,
And without that, we wouldn't have got the work done. But I mean, I think, it's been hard because we had to take everything out and strip it right back
yeah,
to the shell, really.
yeah,
And I mean, you'll know that was rubble piled up and wood and everything,
yeah,
and people have came in and must have thought she'll never ever do this in her life,
yeah.
and people have said to me, I never thought you would finish it. But really, I look round and I know that I didn't do it. God did
Right,
this.
right.
God did this
Yeah,
because I can't even put a nail in the wall to hang a picture, really.
yeah,
So that's how I know that God did it. And we've had some amazing meetings in there. We've had some amazing encounters with God.
mm,
As you say, it is a well there.
mm,
It's a well because Jesus is there and God the Father chose that place for himself. And when he chooses that place, that is where we will go to worship him.
yeah, yeah,
And we really believe that God's going to move in that place and it's going to spill out from the worship centre.
yeah.
Living water is going to flow out from there. And we see it already happening in the surrounding villages.
Absolutely.
We see that happening now. So yeah, and we've had some amazing experiences. I know there's a lot of angels around the place. I know that God had sent some, and they told me that they were the advanced guard type of thing,
Wow.
that they came first. I've seen them in there. I remember the first conference we had to start the year off right after we'd done the first room. We counted everybody, but the place was full, but there was only about 20 of us. And it was only later on that people started saying wasn't the place, it was heaving, it was full.
Mm,
But when you counted them, you kind of lost count. There was only about 20 of us there. And interestingly enough, the same thing happened when we opened the big room up when you came to the dedication.
yeah,
The place looked full, and people said it was heaving, it was full, but it wasn't. It just looked full.
yeah,
So, something supernatural about the place, and
yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah,
It's amazing what God's doing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it is.
So,
It is.
I mean, a couple of things. Just, you talk about the
Right.
renovations and how long they took,
Yeah.
and you say
Oh,
we. You,
yeah.
you mentioned we. Who were the we?
All
Was it
right.
was it was it people? You know,
Mostly me, I think.
mostly like you say, learning how to
Although
put nails in walls and things like that.
I can polyfill like a professional, a plaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I had a builder that did quite a lot of the work,
yeah,
but there was a lot of help from friends, from people there, and husbands, and my own husband,
yeah,
and I was one of these that set my mind to it. I would go in for an hour a day,
yeah,
and I would take wallpaper off for an hour a day,
yeah,
and until the room was done. And I think I have that determination that I was going to finish it.
yeah.
Um,
Clearly, you do.
yeah, I was. I got After we bought the building. We got it in the end of 2015, December 15. And I was very poorly in 2018, and I couldn't walk at the time. I had a bad disease in my legs, and I had the ceilings had fallen in my house with burst pipes,
Wow.
and I honestly felt that my ministry was over. There was no way that I was going to recover from this and carry on. And I had a vision, and I was sat in the middle of a lake in a little boat, and I just heard Jesus say, "Gina, it's time to get out the boat and walk on water again."
Right.
And I got back out, and I picked myself up, and I started again. And in, I think, about June, July time of this year, I had another vision of this boat again, and I was sat in this boat, and it just hit the shore,
Right.
and it just hit dry land. And I knew that I'd spent 6 years from this sitting on the beach
Yeah.
to crossing this lake of water and reaching the other side.
Yeah.
And I just know that although the worship centre is nearly finished, 99% finished, apart from a few odd snaggings and
Yeah.
things, I think the adventure's just kind of beginning, because it's going to be a new adventure.
Wow.
That's setting it up is a new adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Amazing. What do you think the new
yeah.
adventure is going to look like? Do you know? Do you know at this point?
Not how I imagined it, I think. um I don't know. We've There's definitely been an increase of some spiritual warfare in the region.
Mm-hmm.
One of the villages has decided to host psychic fairs and ghost hunts, and now they're actually having them in the village hall in Lingdale. And I know this is just the enemy, really,
Yeah.
and we've got to get on top of this. And we've started having a uniform bank. One of the ladies who's been coming to the centre for a long time, and it's been a privilege to birth this new ministry
Yeah.
with her, and she's been collecting school uniform and giving it out to those that need it. And so we've been hosting a school uniform bank at the centre, and that's been really good. And it's highlighted the fact that there's a lot of people out there
Mm.
that desperately just need people to talk to. So we're praying into that and into the schools.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we're just going to keep praying, and I think we're just going to keep worshipping.
Yeah.
And I think at the moment that's the plan:
Yeah.
worship, worship, and prayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have to have a start the year off right conference, I think, but I'm
Yeah.
pushing it a bit now. Now it's November,
It's
but
well, yeah. But you've got all
we'll
that
have to do
expertise. You've
something.
learned all those, what works and what doesn't over those years of just getting it done. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you could pull that off, no problem at all, Gina. In your
Oh,
sleep.
right. Okay. You're going to come and play, are you?
Well, if we get the invite, I'm sure if we can do it, we would love to be involved in some way. So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um, I'm just I'm
I
not
don't know
sure
what else.
entirely sure who's put this because a number of us are admins. But there's a little kind of I ain't afraid of no ghost. I wonder if it's Alan. I don't know, or we'll
Yeah.
she'll see.
Yeah.
So I never posted that, but it's certainly
No.
one of us, somebody official from Embrace Church, but we all agree on that one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find it interesting what you said though about that new ministry, and I noticed you had a few of the kind of pictures on the Facebook page and it's well worth following that, and just to keep up to speed. And I'll put the contact details really because that's the next kind of question: is how can people support? But I saw
Right.
the pictures of the clothing bank, the school uniform bank, and it's interesting. Then as you were talking, I just kind of thought that's very community focused, and yet you said
Yes. Yeah.
earlier on that it
Yeah.
wasn't going to be a
Yeah.
community kind of resource. I wonder if that's God
Yeah.
leading you into areas that like you've just said as well. It's maybe not what I imagined it was
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah. I think so. I think we have these ideas, don't we? And
Yeah.
I think in the journey that I realised this year was how much I'd grown and learnt.
Mm.
And even if the worship centre never opened, it never became what I wanted it to become. as long as I was walking on that road with Jesus, that I was in the right place and
Mm.
I was doing what he told me to do. And I mean, I don't believe he gives you this big building for it to stand empty and for him not to use it.
Yeah.
But I've learnt so much on the journey that that's whether it was going to be used or not.
Yeah.
What mattered was I'd grown because I was in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I was thinking about, when they were walking on the road to Emmaus. I was thinking that today that they saw Jesus on the road, and when they got to the destination, they turned back round and went back the other way
Mm.
and went back to Jerusalem. And it's what we learn in the journey, isn't it?
It is.
That's important,
Mm.
not just the outcome, because God's outcome is never what you think it's going to be. And I'll just keep listening to God, I think, and keep believing that that He'll tell me what to do when I need it.
Yeah.
He's made a promise to me that he would send the right people at the right time to do the right job.
Mm.
So, but I could do with some help. I mean, there is a bit of snagging to do, a bit of like I need a bit piece of floor putting down that I can't cut because I can't do woodwork.
Yeah.
I can't do much, and I just things like that. My website, I managed to make a right mess of that not long ago. I decided to put a new page in it, and putting a new page in, I lost the events page.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
really messed it up.
Yeah.
And, some of these technical things are just beyond me.
Right.
So I really could do with some help there as well.
So
Yeah,
let me take this opportunity then to kind of just go to cut over to the contact details that
right.
and you've said there a couple of really kind of practical needs. Really, you are an amazing individual. You're amazing, and all you're just so humble. You really are. And how you've through God and obviously being dedicated to following His leading, and He's provided this wonderful place, and is doing amazing things through it, and will continue to do so. I'm absolutely certain. But you can't do it all yourself, and and so you do need some kind of practical help. Whether like the
Yeah.
flooring aspect or maybe some technical aspects. So, listen, I just want to make it a plea to everybody who's kind of tuning in, really, and maybe either live now or actually catch us up online. Listen, go on. If you know people who've got these expertise, go and have a chat with them and say, Gina could really do some, with some help over here, and that's, let's get that sorted and let's get that done, because, this is, like I say, it's amazing to hear how it's evolved, how God has been faithful, and you said that God will provide the right people at the right time to do the right jobs, and that's what we're praying for, and so on. So, let's get people involved and let's get those snagging needs out the way and sorted and so on. So, what? How else can people get support and help and kind of get involved if they maybe they just get feeling really fired up by your story
Yeah.
and what you're
Yeah.
reflecting and thinking, well, what can I do? How can they help?
Well, I think what strikes me is that as you said at the beginning, we are one church,
Mm.
and when you read the Bible, it talks about we're all different members, and you don't despise those ones that are hidden and little, and that I really could do with some people to help, even to lead worship one day or come and talk,
Mm.
come and give testimonies, come and preach on something, anything
Yeah.
really. Just some support from the leaders in the area would be great.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a bit out on a limb out here. There isn't a lot of lively churches around. There isn't. I find it hard to mix with the leadership of churches round here as well. I
Okay.
went off and did things myself, which, it's not a good thing to do sometimes, but
Mm.
I was obedient to what God had said. But I could really do with some support from churches,
Yeah.
just to help out, either come along and teach us how to pray, or teach us how, teach us something, anything would be great. Just to lead worship one day.
And
That
you
would
said
be
it right at the very
brilliant.
beginning. You just want more, so just more of God and more
Yeah,
of what the Holy
yeah,
Spirit's doing, and
yeah,
so the
yeah,
right people to come along and who want the same thing and are able to
yeah,
share whatever they
yeah,
can share,
yeah.
and practically serve that way as well. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't want to keep hold of people. I don't want to nick people's flock or
Hmm.
keep them in a holy huddle.
Yeah,
I want people to go back to their churches equipped,
yeah,
to benefit your churches,
yeah,
not just to benefit me. I'm
yeah,
not going to keep people, but we all grow. And, if people would like an opportunity to preach, and don't get it, then, come along and give us a talk.
yeah,
We'll listen.
yeah.
Sit
And
you in somewhere.
obviously, with the times I've been there, and the people that I've met are just wonderful people.
Yep.
And can I just clarify something though, Gina? Just want to make sure that
Mm.
I'm clear on this, because you've mentioned right throughout this story, you've mentioned a lot of ladies groups, ladies conferences, ladies worship evenings or whatever, ladies coffee whatever. Is the worship centre just for ladies? Let me just ask that question.
No,
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 a few.
no.
Okay.
Men are welcome to come too.
No, that's all right
Yeah,
then. Okay,
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
endure the fellas if they if they want to come as well. That's all right. That's good.
They would be welcome. They would be welcome to come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a bit
yeah,
tongue in cheek. Obviously, I knew the answer to that one, but I just wanted to make sure we
yeah.
get that a point across to everybody.
No, no, they'd be welcome. Yes, yeah.
So
We,
listen, like anything else, I'm just keep eyeing time, and we, as always, the time's gone really, really quickly, and it's always has it gone? Do you feel like it's gone quickly for you?
yeah, it
Yeah,
has actually. Yeah, it's
yeah.
been great.
So you
Really loved it.
survived.
Thank
You're
you.
almost there. You've almost done it. And so it's been great to, like I say, to hear from you, and be inspired by you as an individual. Somebody who feels that, like, to use your words, they're not that special, they're just ordinary, but God has used you mightily, and God can use everybody mightily.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
say,
right.
and I love the desire, love the passion to see God, to want more of God, to see stuff in your own area that may be, and I hear what you're saying there, but that maybe the local church wasn't able to provide at that point for whatever reason. And so, actually, I'm going to do what God's called me to do. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to be a pioneer, like you said, pace setter. You said earlier, and being called these things,
Yes.
which you are. And it's amazing to see. Look, everybody who's listening, share the word. You need to go, spread the word. You need to go and visit Gina and the team at the worship centre. Get your diaries out and get that sorted. And I just want to put on, if I just go back to here again, just that, obviously the contact details again. I'm sure Gina would love to hear from you. If you want to send her a message, you want to give her a call, drop her an email or something. Is that all?
Yep, we're on Facebook. There's a
Yeah,
lot on Facebook. The Worship Centre Lingdale is the
yeah.
Facebook page with all the events on.
Yeah, well worth just liking that page, because you can see you keep up
Yes,
to
that'd be
date.
great.
Yeah, just like the page, share it with your friends and family, so you can keep up to date with all the fantastic things that are happening. And I'm sure, if you're not able to visit for whatever reason, then absolutely, I'm sure, Gina, you'd love their prayer support. We can all at least, kind of pray and
Thank
stuff
you.
like that. So,
Yep.
that's be great. I'm certainly looking forward to coming back again, and on the 4th with the, Mike and Liz Connolly and some others as well, to come
Great.
and serve and spend some time in God's presence and worship with you. So, I'm really looking
Great.
forward to
That'd be
that.
lovely.
Yeah,
Yep.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you ever so much for giving up some of your time tonight and evening, and it's been great. Just like you say, nice and relaxed and chatty. Did I tell you? I
Yep.
did tell you it was going to be nice and relaxed and chatty.
Yeah, you did. You
There
did.
we go.
You did.
So,
It was good.
so thank you everybody for tuning in. If you've got any questions, if you want to follow anything up, I'm sure you can get in touch. Like you say, probably the best way is like the page, the Worship Centre page on Facebook, and maybe drop a message in there, or check out the contact details are on the website. Even though you said you had a bit of a mare with the website itself. The contact details are still on there, which is great.
Yeah,
Just want
they
to
are.
post there. Tony's just saying thanks so much. She's really enjoyed it. It's been great, and it really has, Gina. You're an
Thanks.
inspirational
Thanks.
individual, so thank you very, very much. and we look forward to keeping in touch and seeing what else God's going to do through the team and through the worship centre. So thank you ever so
that's
much.
lovely.
All right, take
Yeah,
care.
thank you.
All right,
Bye.
so feel free to, like I say, share this with your friends and family. If you, if you want to, you can obviously check out the Facebook page for Embrace Church Darlington. You can, follow us on YouTube. It'd be really good, actually, if people could just a little plea from me, just subscribe to our channel on YouTube, please, if you would. We just need some more subscribers so we can get a few details kind of changed, like the address makes it a bit easier to remember. But you need a certain amount of subscribers to be able to do that, so that would be helpful. Feel free to kind of check out Embrace Church. Obviously, check out the worship centre at Lingdale and Gina and the team, the amazing stuff that they're doing. And it's been wonderful to hear their story. But if you're interested in Embrace Church as well, we're in Darlington, then you can follow us on, obviously, those social media channels. Head over to YouTube, etc. Follow us on Twitter. And we will be back next week with another Embrace Live. Like I say, I've been busy, plaguing all of my good buddies from all over, just to kind of, and booking them in for the next, few months, really. So we've got a really good variety of people coming on. And so please tune in Wednesday nights, 8 till 9, live if you can, or catch up and bring your friends as well. All right, take care. Have a good week. Thanks for tuning in tonight.